The 2024 recruiting cycle is all but finished, but who's off to a hot start in the 2025 class when it comes to recruiting in the college football world? Well, we'll talk about it right here. We have a National Signing Day show for you on the On3 Recruits channel. Myself and Josh Newberg sitting at this very desk, talking ball, kind of getting nostalgic about the 2024 class. So make sure you're tuned in over there on Wednesday for that show. But on this show, on the On3 YouTube channel, on this show, The Hard Count, we talk college football all the time, and that includes recruiting. So I want us to kind of dip our toe in the 2025 world and see how things are shaping up. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a minute of what we got going on right here on the On3 YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all for that. And I think the school that's most obvious that has been recruiting their tail off, recruiting like a program, like we like to say on this show, LSU. Currently, the number one class in the 2025 cycle in the On3 industry team recruiting rankings. They have not one, not two, but 3 5-stars, including the top player at the running back, wide receiver, and quarterback position, the top player overall in the 2025 class in Bryce Underwood. This, to me, is just another step, another footnote, another bullet point, if you will, in the Brian Kelly gets it kind of story. Because, what was always the conversation around Brian Kelly when he got to LSU? There's he's got the Southern accent. He doesn't really fit. Does he get what it is in the SEC? This is a different beast now. And yet again, Brian Kelly showing you that he is a guy that, 1, gets it, 2, is going to recruit, is not going to be given the second best ingredients in the SEC when it comes time to play games in the fall. He's recruiting at a top tier level. I understand we got a long way to go till that early signing period, but the fact that he's got the class that he has right now, I think should be encouraging for LSU fans. It is, again, another statement in the book for Brian Kelly saying we are not going to settle for third place here. We're not going to settle for the silver or bronze medal. I came to LSU to win national championships. And you can talk like that in a press conference. You can put a great offseason plan together for your team and practice really well during spring ball. But we all understand this. In order to be successful on the field during the fall, you got to win during the recruiting cycle. And so right now with LSU having that top class in 2025 with the top player in Bryce Underwood in that cycle, another statement from Brian Kelly saying, listen, we're here for hardware. We're not here for anything else. So if I'm an LSU fan, I am very encouraged by Brian Kelly continuing to press the envelope. He's not just there to taste the gumbo and have a good time with the good folks in Baton Rouge. He is there to win football games. Not just football games, national championships. So I'm excited to see how this class develops. Again, a long way to go to the early signing period, but LSU right now, the number one class in 2025. Who's off to a hot start? Hard to not say the Bayou Bengals. Now, the number 2 class in the country, in a class that is cooking and was cooking over the weekend, is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They got a commitment from the top cornerback in this cycle, in Naeem Offord. And this is something it's great they have the class they have right now, both the number 1 and the number 2 corner in this class. Devin Sanchez is also committed right now to the Buckeyes. But there's this thought that just continues to follow Ryan Day that I truly don't understand. It's the thought that Ryan Day was born on third base, and he's been successful because of what Urban Meyer did there. And I'm not here to disagree that the Buckeye brand is extremely strong. There's a lot of guys that want to come to Ohio State because it is Ohio State. But if Ryan Day were truly born on third base and had done nothing to equip Ohio State going forward, he wouldn't be able to recruit like this. I mean, you check the numbers. Ryan Day has only recruited top 5 class for the most part since he's been in Columbus. And this is right now the number 2 class in the 2025 cycle. Ryan Day is doing the legwork. Ryan Day is going to war on the recruiting trail to land the top guys. He's not just living off of the brand name. If he was living off the brand name, he wouldn't be this high in the early rankings for the 2025 cycle. If he was living off the brand name, he wouldn't continually recruit top 5 classes year in and year out. There's a lot of big brands that, 1, don't play as well on the field as Ohio State, and 2, that don't recruit as well as Ohio State in that top 5 range. So say what you want about the game against Michigan. It is what it is. But for Ohio State, they're off to a hot start in 2025. I'm excited to see how they round out here and close towards that early signing period, because at that point in time, there will be some games played. And we'll just call a spade here. We are high on Ohio State right now leading into this 2024 season. And so when they get more proof of concept out there, which they already have a solid amount of, but as they continue to show what Ohio State is in the new Big Ten, in this new college football playoff format, I think the Buckeyes will have some more ammunition to use on the recruiting trail. But right now, off to a hot start, and the number 2 class in the 2025 cycle. Now at number 3, you got the Georgia Bulldogs, also off to a hot start. So those are the top 3 classes right there in LSU, Ohio State, and Georgia. And Georgia at number 3, like it's not really super surprising. I think they'll probably push to even be higher than that when it comes to National Signing Day. This is Georgia being Georgia. Right now in this cycle, they have 5 commits. All 5 of those cats are in-state players. And for Georgia, man, and Kirby Smart, one, we know they're going to be dogs on the recruiting trail, no pun intended, but they will acquire top talent because that's what their DNA is. That's what they expect, is to have the very best ingredients in the college football landscape, and it starts on the recruiting trail. But on top of that, like, if you just put a fence around the state of Georgia, if you're Kirby Smart and company, and you just say, we're going to get all the top guys in this state, you will have more than what you need. Now, I understand that's not realistic to land every single top guy in the state, but like let's just kind of walk that out a little bit. If they are able to put a fence around that state, they will have all the ingredients they need to compete at the level they want to compete at. So we'll see how they evolve. Again, only 5 commits right now, but something that really can make this whole class pop off and kind of pour gasoline on the fire. Julian Lewis reclassified from 2026 to 2025. He is currently the number 2 quarterback in this cycle. He just visited with the Dogs. There's a lot of really good intel from Rusty Mansell and company over at Dogs HQ, our On3 Georgia site. So get a membership over there to get more in-depth intel. All I'm going to say is it went well. It went well. Julian Lewis is currently committed to USC. Still got a ways till signing day. Julian Lewis is an in-state cat for Georgia. So I'm just saying, if they're able to flip Julian Lewis, that's a very big if. I'm not telling you I have any knowledge of that happening, but if they're able to do that, you then have a quarterback that, again, is kind of more of a calling card for your class, that attracts more skill players, that attracts more players in general. So we'll see what happens there, but you could see the Julian Lewis effect kick in and really skyrocket that Georgia class from number 3, which would be saying something. So again, I don't know where that stands long term, but having him visit and having it go well, about all you could ask for right now in the 2025 cycle. Now, one more school I want to talk about here. And as we were putting this segment together, we're fortunate enough here at On3 to have a ton of great people within our network to bounce ideas off of and gather intel. And one of the best in the business, I mean, to be quite honest, the guy who owns the recruiting industry when it comes to breaking commitments is Hayes Fawcett. And you've seen the graphics. Anytime somebody big time commits, Hayes has a graphic, and Hayes probably knows about it weeks in advance. And so I asked Hayes, not from an intel point of view, but from an opinion point of view, Hayes, who do you think has been off to a hot start in the 2025 cycle outside of those top 3 classes? And Hayes got back to me fairly quickly via Twitter DM, and he just said Notre Dame. And looking at Notre Dame's class, man, it is hard to disagree with that statement. That was actually, I replied back and said, Hayes, you read my mind. Because Notre Dame right now has the most commits in the class of 2025 with 13. 7 4-stars, 6 3-stars. Marcus Freeman is doing his work early. We just talked about that quarterback effect on a class. And if Georgia can land Julian Lewis and flip him from USC, Notre Dame currently has their quarterback in the boat in Deuce Knight. He is a top 5 quarterback in this cycle. So you got your guy to build around within this class, kind of the bell cow of the class, if you will. Marcus Freeman, man, we knew this when he took the job, but we've seen it play out practically for the Fighting Irish. He is a dog on the recruiting trail. Like, he is going to prioritize landing top talent. He knows what it takes to win at the top tier of college football. He's seen it. And that was sort of the thought around Brian Kelly when he was at Notre Dame was, well, is he going to recruit? Can he recruit at Notre Dame? Is Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame a sign of what's going on at Notre Dame on the recruiting trail and how hard it is to recruit with their academic standards? And I'm not going to tell you it's not more difficult to recruit at a place like Notre Dame with the academic standards, with the cold weather. Like, there's some things working against you. Let's be honest here. The geographical location of it. Like, there's some obvious barriers. But Marcus Freeman has been looking at those barriers and knocking them down time and time again. Right now, they have a top 5 class in 2025. And the big thing with me, I think the overarching like headline I'd put on Notre Dame under Marcus Freeman when it comes to how they recruit, Marcus Freeman has made Notre Dame cool again. And it's funny to say that out loud, but I think it's absolutely true. Marcus Freeman, young, energetic head coach, obviously connects well with recruits at the high school level. That's why they're recruiting as well as they are right now in the top 5 level on 2025 class. But you look at just overall the vibe around Notre Dame with what we see from the outside looking in. I mean, the the things they do on the recruiting trail to get recruits excited, the visit pictures. This is not your dad's stuffy Notre Dame that, win one for the Gipper, leaning on tradition. Like, Notre Dame still does that, I promise you. They still have all those traditions in place, and they still want to honor that and make that a selling point. But, I think Notre Dame's done a lot to kind of revamp their brand under Marcus Freeman. And I think Marcus Freeman, I would have to believe, has had a pretty large hand in doing that and being able to land some top recruits. And we see a lot of these young bucks be able to contribute in an early fashion for Notre Dame. I mean, heck, look at last year's class. Jaden Greathouse was a dog out of the state of Texas that committed to Notre Dame and had a big impact this past year on the field. So all that's to say, Notre Dame doing their work early right now with, again, 13 commitments. And I think Marcus Freeman has done a lot to revamp that brand for high school recruits and has made them a place that I think kids want to, at the very least, take a second look at and on a much more real level commit to by nature of them having that many commits at this point in the 2025 cycle. So all that's to say, you got LSU, Ohio State, Georgia in your top three right now. Obviously off to a hot start, but Notre Dame, do not be surprised if they continue to gain some more ground here, especially if they have a solid 2024 campaign and have some more proof of concept to sell to these guys. I'm excited about all those schools, and we're less than a year away from early National Signing Day, but all these schools are off to a hot start as we jump into, close to jumping into the spring and summer period of the recruiting calendar. Appreciate y'all being dialed in. Again, National Signing Day, the final signing day for 2024, is happening on the On3 Recruits channel on Wednesday. So make sure you're subscribed there. Get dialed in. Myself and Josh Newberg talking everything that is and was the 2024 class, and as some of the top schools in the country kind of round out their classes, and we'll keep an eye on everything recruiting on that day going forward, and it'll be a real good time. So make sure you're locked in. Hey, we appreciate y'all being a part of this. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. College football doesn't stop. Neither does this show. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.